Welcome to St. Paul United Methodist Church, a sacred place where struggle gave birth to sanctuary and faith lit the path through generations. Since 1873, we have stood not just as a church, but as a living monument to resilience, to worship, and to our people's power. And now we welcome a new chapter in that journey with the appointment of our senior pastor, Reverend Cantrice S. Robinson. Pastor Robinson is a bold and compassionate leader, a proud daughter of Fort Worth, a scholar, a preacher, a wife, a mother. She walks in the spirit of servant leadership with a heart set on building strong disciples and a community rooted in love. Before there were bricks, there were prayers. Before stained glass and soaring arches, there were open fields, borrowed homes, and brush arbors. St. Paul began with the faith of freed men and freed women, those newly released from bondage, gathering in the shadow of a broken system to worship a living God. They had no wealth, but they had the word, no sanctuary, but they had each other. And from that sacred ground, a vision was born. The sanctuary you see today was designed by William Sidney Pittman, Dallas's first Black architect. But it was built brick by the hands of the faithful. It would take 26 years to complete. Across the decades, this house has been shepherded by bold leaders. Dr. Henry Masters brought us Camp Succeed and Body and Soul. Dr. Sharon Patterson, the first Black woman ordained in our conference, broke barriers in this pulpit. Reverend Charles Stovall turned our church into a refuge for Hurricane Katrina survivors. Reverend Elsie Odom Jr. led us through restoration, forging bonds with our community and with Highland Park United Methodist Church in a shared vision of healing. We are a church in action. St. Paul has never stayed within our four walls. We helped found Houston Tillotson University. We launched the Dallas Bethlehem Center and raised generations through Arts Vision and the sacred gift of music and service. Through ministries like Body and Soul, we've fed the hungry and clothed our neighbors. We've partnered with local artists, educators, and families to uplift the next generation. Whether through worship, education, or justice, we show up. We are not just a church. We are a movement rooted in Christ, reaching out in love. This year, we proclaim, we remember, we reflect, we rise. We draw strength from the image of the Sankofa bird, reaching back to carry what must not be forgotten. Because to rise, we must first remember. This is why we journey to Tulsa's Black Wall Street, not as tourists, but as witnesses. We, as a community, stood on the sacred ground where dreams were once built and then burned. But even in the ashes, we found power. We saw reflections of our own story, of people who refused to be erased. And we brought that fire home with us, a fire to build, to protect, to rise. The Sankofa calls us to remember not just the pain, but the strength to carry forward not just grief, but purpose. To those who laid the first brick, to those who kept the flame, to those who now rise to lead, this is your church. This is your legacy. This is St. Paul United Methodist Church. And by God's grace, this story is still being written by those who still believe.